Welcome to the Waterloo, Wellington Children's Groundwater Festival.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining our 2024 virtual Waterloo, Wellington Children's Groundwater Festival. We are so glad you're with us today. This event is being recorded and all registered attendees will receive an email with a link in the coming days. If you have questions during the live screening about what you're learning today, water, groundwater, or water conservation, use the chat to ask our water experts. The chat has a slight delay, so be patient with us. We hope you enjoy the videos we put together for you.
Hello, young explorers! Thank you for joining the 2024 virtual Waterloo Wellington Children's Groundwater Festival. Welcome to the amazing world of water. Today, we're going to dive into an adventure to discover the water cycle, the importance of water for life, and how human activity can impact the quantity and quality of water. We'll also learn some fun water conservation tips. Are you ready? Let's go! The water cycle is like a big, never-ending water ride. It starts with the sun heating up the water in the rivers, lakes, and oceans, causing the water to evaporate and it turn into water vapor. This water vapor rises into the sky and forms clouds. When the clouds get heavy with water, it starts to rain or snow, and the water falls back to the ground and starts the cycle all over again. Isn't that amazing? Water is pretty special, but not all water looks the same. If you look close around you, you will be able to find it in all three stages. Let's see if you can guess the stage of water based on these pictures. Liquid water can be found as water in rivers, lakes, the ocean, and your tap. We can see solid water during the winter as snow or ice. You can use it to make slushies. Look around. Do you see any vapor around you? Look up. The clouds are made up of gas, water, or vapor. How cool is that?
Hi there, friends. Today we're going to talk about something super cool, the difference between surface water and groundwater. You see, water is all around us, and it's always changing forms. It can be in the air as a vapor, on the ground as surface water, or even hidden deep underground as groundwater. Let's start with surface water. Surface water is the water that you can see on the Earth's surface, like lakes, rivers, and oceans. It's what you splash and play in when you go swimming or have a water fight. Now, let's talk about groundwater. Groundwater is water that's hidden deep beneath the ground, in spaces between rock and soil particles. It's like a secret underground river. When it rains, some of the water soaks into the ground and becomes groundwater. It's like the earth is drinking up all the rain. But how do we get groundwater back out? Well, that's where wells come in. People can dig wells to pump up the groundwater and use it for drinking, bathing, or even watering their plants. So you see, surface water and groundwater are both important parts of the water cycle. They work together to give us the water we need to live and play. Alright, time for a quick quiz. True or false? Surface water is the water you find on top of the ground. That's right, it's true. And true or false, groundwater is the water hidden beneath the ground. You got it, it's true. Well, that's all for today, friends. Thanks for joining me to learn about surface water and groundwater. Remember to stay curious and keep exploring the amazing world around you. Until next time, bye-bye!
Hi everyone, thank you so much for taking part in the virtual Groundwater Festival. My name's Danielle and I work with Wellington Source Water Protection right in Center Wellington. Part of my job is to ensure that people for generations to come have safe, clean drinking water. But today we're not going to talk about that specifically. I want to talk to you about stormwater management ponds, their benefits and all of the wildlife that surround the ponds. So if you look behind me, if you're local to Fergus, this pond might just be in your backyard. And we're going to go around the pond and see all the wildlife today, talk about its benefits, and why you have to be super safe around these ponds. Follow me.
Stormwater management ponds are truly bustling ecosystems that are full of life. You just have to look. These ponds are like nature's own superheroes, cleaning up rainwater and providing homes for many different plants and animals. Hiding in the depths are many different species of fish, amphibians, and if you're lucky, you may even catch a glimpse of a frog sunbathing on the shore. From chirping birds to tiny insects to tall grasses, every creature plays a crucial role in helping keep these ponds healthy and functioning properly. Canadian geese often visit these ponds, and while I was visiting this pond, I spotted a pair on the shore. They may have even decided to build a nest at this pond.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that trickling of water? Listen closely. This is the stormwater management pond's outflow. So this is the last stop in the pond for the water before it gets filtered out to local lakes and streams. You'll notice that it trickles a lot more when we've had a heavy rainfall or after the winter and we have lots of snow that has thawed, and this will be constantly running. But during the summer months, when it's really dry, you might not hear it as much. And one really cool thing about these is that if there's any garbage or anything that's been blown into the pond, they'll get trapped in these little areas and eventually get cleaned out so they don't end up in the lakes and rivers.
So basically, stormwater management ponds are environmental superheroes. They collect extra rainwater to prevent flooding, clean up dirty water from our streets, and provide homes for lots of wildlife. They act as natural filters, removing yucky stuff from the water to keep it clean and healthy for plants, animals, and people. Plus, they're not just all work. They're also a neat place to hang out with walking paths and park nearby. Cool, huh?
Now this part's very important. Typically at these ponds, you'll see a sign that says you can't fish, you can't swim, and you can't skate in the winter. That's because that's not what these ponds are for. They don't have fish that you'd want to eat in them, and in the winter, because the bottom of the ponds, the water is probably moving because it's being flown in from the city streets. The ice on top may look thick, but it's not, so you have a higher risk of falling through. So always make sure to treat these ponds like you would any other water body and respect them and just be very careful around them.
To wrap it up, by protecting these ponds, we're not just preserving a pretty sight, but we're also safeguarding a diverse community of living things. From me and my friends at the pond, enjoy the rest of the festival.
Hi everyone, my name is Beatrice and I am part of the Waterloo Wellington Children's Groundwater Festival. After listening to Danielle talk about a water management pond, I decided to go for a walk and find the closest water management pond to my house, which is the one that is just beside me, and any other sources of water close to my home. And I was surprised by the amount of animals and wildlife that I was able to see on my walk. I decided to leave my house and walk towards the pond. I was amazed by the fascinating world of this urban ecosystem and all the water found in cities. Even in the midst of all the concrete and noise, there are pockets of nature that help many animals call these places their home. Just a few meters away from my street, there is a path that leads to a small stream. I could already hear many birds chirping. The first animal I encountered was a frog. Frogs can be found in ponds and streams. They need to live close to water. They have some unique adaptations to catch their prey and escape predators, like webbed feet to swim fast and strong hind limbs to leap. They are hard to spot and they can camouflage with their environment. They have permeable skin that helps them breathe and absorb oxygen. Next, I found a flock of Canada geese. These birds have adapted to live in our cities. They can often be found near bodies of water like this pond where they can swim and find food. They waterproof their feathers to keep them warm and dry in the water. They have strong legs for swimming and webbed feet for paddling. While walking along the path by the pond, I found a chipmunk. These rodents can be found in parks and green spaces in cities. They have sharp claws for digging burrows and gathering food like nuts and berries. Just like many other animals, they have adapted to live in our cities and towns and need water to survive and stay hydrated. Next time you are on a walk, take a moment to appreciate the urban ecosystem around you. There's so much to learn and explore. What other animals have you seen living close or around water in your neighborhood?
Did you know that water is essential for all living things? Plants, animals, and humans all need water to survive. We use water for drinking, bathing, growing our food, and even generating electricity. It's so important to take care of our water and keep it clean and safe for everyone. Plants also need water to grow and stay alive. Through a process called photosynthesis, plants absorb sunlight, carbon dioxide from the air, and water through their roots to create their own food to stay alive. It is important that plants get water to stay alive, since many living things depend on plants for food. Many animals are herbivores, meaning that they only eat plants rather than other animals to survive. Animals also need water to survive. Animals drink water, bathe in water, and live in water. Animals that live in water are called vertebrates, like fish. Animals that live in water and on land are called amphibians, like frogs. Water can be home to many plants as well, such as seaweed or lily pads. In Canada, we have many large bodies of water that are home to animals, plants, living things, and non-living things that make up an ecosystem. Close to home, we have the Grand River, which flows through Wellington County and Waterloo region and connects to one of Canada's Great Lakes, Lake Erie. Can you think of living and non-living things that live in or around water? Great answers! Now, let's talk about groundwater and surface water. We have learned so much about surface water and groundwater. Did you know that Waterloo region uses groundwater? About 100 million liters of groundwater using over 100 wells is collected every day. 100 million liters is similar to 100 million water bottles. Now, let's look at some places that use groundwater and some places that use surface water. Can anyone guess the province or territory that relies exclusively on groundwater? Great guesses! The answer is Prince Edward Island. Here's another question. Can anyone guess the Canadian province or territory that uses mostly surface water? Wow, more great guesses! The answer is Alberta. What is the largest city in Ontario to rely exclusively on groundwater? Great guesses! The answer is Guelph. Thanks for playing along. Many towns and cities use a combination of groundwater and surface water to make sure there is enough water for everyone who lives there. Next up, we will look at how humans affect water.
Water treatment in the region of Waterloo. Hey students, today we will be learning about water treatment. What is water treatment? There are many different types of water treatment, which make the water we drink today safe and clean to drink. Water treatment happens before and after it enters our home. It is important to note that drinking water must be treated. In our home, Waterloo, our water is treated at the Mannheim Water Treatment Plant. Did you know the region of Waterloo is responsible for distributing water to multiple cities such as Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and the townships of Woolwich and Wilmot? Now you may be wondering, how does this process happen? Where are we getting this water from? Let's dive right into the steps of this process. There are two sources of water that contribute to the region of Waterloo's drinking water. First, Grand River, which makes up about 20 to 25%. Which is the light blue part of the pie graph. On the map are two big red circles that show the Grand River water process. Water from Grand River enters into the reservoir where it sits for about 2 to 4 days. Letting the water sit allows sand and other substances to settle out. Once the water sits for 2 to 4 days, it moves into our water treatment plant, the Mannheim Water Treatment Plant, where the water undergoes a multi-step process, which is a very complex procedure. Did you know the water plant treats 500 to 840 liters every second? That's 1,000 to 1,600 water bottles. The second source is groundwater, which makes up about 75 to 80%, which is the dark blue on the pie graph. What is groundwater? Groundwater is water that is beneath the land surface. It is made up of rain or snow that fall on the ground. It can also come from lakes and rivers. On the map are two big red circles that show the process of groundwater. Now you may be wondering, how do we collect this type of water? Good question. For this, a large pipe is inserted into the ground, which we can also call a well. Groundwater is treated once the water is pumped to the top of the well. Did you know there are 120 wells across the region of Waterloo? After both the groundwater and Grand River water is treated and tested, they are mixed together and moved along underground pipes, and they may enter the water tower. A water tower is responsible for maintaining and distributing the water. It acts as a storage bin. The treated water continues to run through the pipes until it reaches your house, and then it is ready and safe to drink. You may be wondering, what happens to the water that we use? Where does it go? Used water can be called wastewater. This can be the water that you flush down the toilet, water that comes from your dishwasher, or even your washing machine. This water leads through another pipe to a wastewater treatment plant, where it is treated. The solids and liquids are separated from one another. The treated water is then returned to Grand River, and the solids that are removed are turned into biosolids, which help with fertilization. The water is safe and treated when it is dumped back into the rivers. And then the cycle continues. Thank you for listening.
Did you know that what we do can affect the water around us? Let's start with the quantity of water. Did you know that over 1 billion people around the world don't have access to clean drinking water? That's a lot of people. And as our population grows, we're using more and more water every day. Whether it's for drinking, bathing, or growing food, we rely on water for so many things. But sometimes we use more water than the planet can replenish. This can lead to water shortages, especially in places with dry climates. In fact, did you know that agriculture uses about 70% of the world's water supply? That's a lot of water for growing food. So, it's important for us to think about how we can use water more efficiently. like using drip irrigation or planting drought-resistant crops.
Hi everyone, let's talk about water conservation and why it's so important that we conserve the water that surrounds us. But first, let us define what water conservation means, which is the act and practice of using water sufficiently while preventing any unnecessary water waste. Now, you may ask yourself, why is it so important that we conserve water? My answer is, it is important to conserve water because fresh water is a privilege that everyone is not given. Fresh water is limited and costly. Therefore, we should take it upon ourselves to use the water that we have access to with care and teach others around us to do the same. Now, let me share with you a really interesting fact that I just learned. Let's use this glass of water. You see how this glass of water is full? Let us pretend that this glass of water is all the water that we have in our whole entire planet. All the water that we have is in this glass of water. Only one single drop of this water is the only water that we have access to us for consumption. So when you look around and you see, wow, there's so much water around me, why do we need to conserve the water? Remember, only a drop of a glass of water that is filled in a glass is the only water that we have for consumption. That doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Now friends, it is up to you and I to put our best thinking cap on and come up with ways that we can conserve the water that we have around us. Let's call ourselves the water warriors. Now the first step of being a water warrior is coming up with fun ideas to share with others so they can be inspired to be water warriors as well. And reasons why we should conserve more water. An example that you could use is the less water that we use, the more water that we have available in our environment, which helps out our wetland friends like otters and fishes. This also helps us out during the dry seasons, which is from October to March, and creates a safer environment and more freshwater accessibility for the future generations. The second step of being a water warrior is to brainstorm our own water usage and our own water habits so that we can improve them and make sure that we're sufficiently using the water that we have access to. Let's start in the bathroom, where we spend a lot of the water that we're trying to conserve while we take showers, brush our teeth, wash our face, all that good stuff. Easy habits like turning off the faucet while brushing your teeth in between rinses can make a huge impact. Another thing we can do is take showers instead of bath. When we take a bath, did you know that 40 of these bottles are being used as opposed to 25 when you take a 10-minute shower? Think about how much water you'll be saving when you do that. Another place in our home we use a ton of water is the kitchen. Now, using a dishwasher instead of washing our dishes with our hands can save us so much water. Think of it like this. 13 of these bottles are used in the dishwasher to wash our dishes, as opposed to 144 of these bottles. That is insane. And another thing we can do to conserve water is by storing water in jugs in our fridges so we can cool it there instead of drinking water from the tap and waiting for the cold water to set in, because that would just waste more water. Now friends, those were just a few ideas on water conservation that you can do in your own home. There are plenty more ideas that you can do every day that can help you conserve more water and become a water warrior. Our goal is to make sure that we spread our knowledge on water conservation and fresh drinking water so that everyone can do their part and be impactful in maintaining a good and balanced ecosystem in our environment, especially our water. I hope I was able to teach you just a little something new today, and I hope you are able to take this new information and incorporate it in your day-to-day life. But before I go, I want to challenge you to come up with your own ideas on how to become a water warrior and spread the words and teach your friends, your family, your parents even your teachers about water conservation. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Now, let's talk about water quality. When we use water for things like washing clothes or flushing the toilet, it can become polluted with chemicals and bacteria. This can make it unsafe for people and animals to drink or swim in. Even litter and plastic waste can harm our waterways and the creatures that live in them. But the good news is that we can all do our part to protect water quality. Wastewater treatment plants help to clean the water after it is flushed down the toilet or poured down the sink. But we can also help by using eco-friendly cleaning products, properly disposing of our trash, and replacing single-use plastics with reusable items such as refillable water bottles. And we can also join organizations that help keep our rivers and oceans clean. Together, we can make a big difference. So whether it's using water wisely or keeping it clean, we all play a part in taking care of our planet's most precious resource. Let's be water heroes! There are many things we can do to help conserve water and keep it clean. We can turn off the faucet while brushing our teeth and while shaving, fix any leaks in our home, and use a watering can instead of a hose for our plants. We can take shorter showers, throw garbage in the garbage can rather than down the toilet, water our lawn only when needed, and turn off running water used for rinsing while doing dishes. Every little action we can take can make a big difference for our planet.
Hello everyone, today we will be talking about water availability. What is water availability? Water availability is how much water is available and the quality of water for humans. We will be talking about how much water is here for us to drink and across the world to see if there is enough water for us and others. What affects water availability? These are the three factors that affect water availability: climate change, water pollution, and population growth. The main things that affect water is climate change. Climate change is changing weather patterns and the water cycles that affect the amount of rain we receive, causing floods and droughts. Climate change is when the ice cap melts, causing high sea levels, which also causes natural disasters. The next factor is water pollution. Water pollution can also affect water availability by changing the quality of our water. Water pollution is caused by our human activities that can cause dangerous chemicals like fertilizer, toxins, and chemicals which can contaminate our water. Now let's move on to population growth. As there are more humans in this world, the population grows, which means we must have enough fresh water for everyone. As the population grows, it can make it harder for different countries to get access to water. Did you know that people have to walk really far to get their water? Moving closer is not an option. In some cases, people have to get a permanent water source near their home. Well, for instance, Sakidad, a 55-year-old father of four, claimed that his kids were in charge of getting water every day while he was at work in Afghanistan. To find enough water, the kids were forced to walk far away from their homes. Sakidad said, World Vision built a water container as well as water taps right in front of our houses. What else could we have dreamed of? Now we are very comfortable and are very happy. I want to thank World Vision because they have done so much for us. They built the world for us and our children. Now let's talk about Africa. Women and girls in Africa have to do a lot of work to get water because they're most likely to be responsible for carrying water to their homes. Many girls in Africa walk 6 kilometers and carry 40 pounds of water every day. Their energy for other activities becomes drained by their daily duties, and they lose the chance to spend time with their family and explore educational experiences. Due to these circumstances, many women then have to drop out of school and provide water for their families. What countries have the safest drinking water? Well, Canada, United States, Brazil, and countries that are highlighted in blue means they have the safest drinking water, whereas the countries in purple and red do not have safe, clean water. Here are some interesting facts about water. Did you know that before COVID-19 happened, despite progress, billions still lack water and sanitation services? COVID-19 implications were 3 billion people worldwide lack basic hand washing facilities at home. 2 in 5 healthcare facilities worldwide have no soap and water. Water scarcity could displace 700 million people by 2030. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you guys learned more about water availability.
Well, that's all for today, young explorers. I hope you had as much fun learning about the amazing world of water as I did. Remember to always treat water with care and respect, and share what you've learned with your friends and family. Until next time, keep exploring and learning. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Well, the weatherman said you better stay in bed. It's another gray, rainy day. Everyone despair, there's water in the air. It's gonna wash your smiles away. All the plans you made will have to be delayed because of this H2O. Everyone hide, you have to stay inside. There's nowhere you can go. 'Cause it's raining, it's pouring, puddles are forming. It's raining, it's pouring, go do something boring. Well, the stuff we need to live is falling from the sky. No time to celebrate, hang your heads and cry. Farmers might say that showers are a blessing, but we've been told that rain should be depressing. So shut down all the playgrounds, close the summer camps. Imagine what would happen if the children got damp. Hide out in your houses, hide out in your cars. If you want to find some water, go look for it on Mars. 'Cause parents all know, and you should not forget, the worst thing that can happen is if something gets wet. It's raining, it's pouring, puddles are forming. It's raining, it's pouring, go do something boring. Well, the weatherman said you better stay in bed. It's raining, it's pouring, puddles are forming. It's raining, it's pouring, go do something boring. It's raining, it's pouring, puddles